How not to ruin Silksong for yourself is today's topic. Many of you will now think to yourselves, what do you mean? How am I ruining Silksong for myself? And let me explain. Hollow Knight started development in late 2013 and got released in February of 2017. Silksong started development in late 2017 and is not out yet, so has been in development for like close to 6 years now. So what most of you expect me to say is, okay, Hollow Knight was so great and only had like 3 years of development and less funds and whatever, and Team Cherry has now had much more time for development for Silksong, so surely Silksong will be greater. And that argument is kind of redundant because, of course, you know, saying, oh, you shouldn't think Silksong is going to be the best game ever, like that's not an interesting take. That's obvious that you should, like, you know, keep your expectations in check. But what I want to talk about today is about expectations in a different way. And in order for me to explain that, let me talk about Zelda for a moment. 20 years ago, when the GameCube was first announced, they showed a tech demo with a potential Zelda game and it looked really realistic. And as we know now, a bit later, the Zelda GameCube game that did come out was Wind Waker, which did not look realistic, so people were disappointed because their expectations were for something totally different. And now Wind Waker, especially with the Wii U ports that's happened 1000 years ago, it looks great and it will continue to look great for like 20 years from now. But at the time, it was a big disappointment. And now I'm going to dial this back to Silksong and how it applies to Silksong. Because we all got different expectations of what Silksong will look like. We can easily just do the math and be like, okay, Team Cherry has been working on Silksong for almost twice the time they've been working on Hollow Knight, so Silksong will be twice the size of Hollow Knight. And there's many reasons why this probably will not be the case. Be it from like personal reasons, like, hey, William has a child now, that's something he should take care of probably, so he's not going to spend 24/7 in the studio. And prior to the release of Hollow Knight, Team Cherry was struggling. They were not like rich people who could afford to take their sweet time. They had to go all in basically, and they don't have to do that anymore. They can work at a pace that is much more feasible for them and much healthier, and I think that's great. So there's a lot of reasons for Team Cherry to, you know, maybe take a bit more time, and that's not me saying they're slacking off or anything. That's just me saying, okay, they can actually, you know, live like or work like under human conditions, basically. Because I feel like Hollow Knight's development must have been really, really hard and really stressful and really, of course, time consuming and energy consuming. And there's really not a lot of reason for them to do the same for Silksong. But there is one thing that's way more complicated. And in order for me to paint a picture of what I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about myself for a while, because I'm a narcissist. No, because I've done a couple of videos that kind of like feed into this way of thinking. I'm talking about all of the theory videos. You know, me talking about, this is how song could work in Silksong. This is what the Silksong could be. Is void in Silksong. This is how the quests could work. This is how the tools could work. And you know, I feel like a lot of that is based on stuff that makes sense in the moment. It makes sense based on what we have now. But it could still be different. Systems could still be different than to what we expect them to be. There could be systems in place we have no clue about yet. And that can influence our enjoyment of the game, because we expect the game to be something. We're expecting I'm sticking with the Zelda metaphor now, because can you tell I'm hyped for the new Zelda game, or is this like, you know, subliminal enough, or can I just flat out state that I'm super hyped for the new Zelda game? Some people, you know, went into Breath of the Wild just wanting another like Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time 3D Zelda game that is very dungeon focused, and that's not what they got. And then they were disappointed and didn't give the game its hand a chance. Our expectations going into a game can shape our enjoyment we get out of it. And I've not been the only one, of course, doing theories. There's been multiple channels with like multiple great theories, but what we have done, be it somewhat unwillingly, is kind of like shaping Silksong in our heads and making it out to be a certain type of game. Let's say Silksong is a sphere. Would you still love Silksong if it was a sphere? No, let's say Silksong was a sphere, and the real Silksong is right in the middle. All of us are somewhere in that sphere with our own version of Silksong. Some of us are closer, be it by chance or by whatever, and some of us are further away with our expectations of Silksong. Not our expectations about the quality, but about the game itself, how it plays, what it's about, etc. No matter how close you may be to the real Silksong, to the Silksong we will get later down the road, I want you all to be aware that what you have in mind now is not the Silksong you're going to get one way or another. And by being aware of that discrepancy, yeah, that's a word, and by being aware of that discrepancy, we can avoid being disappointed by the game being something different than we expected. Because I think that if you go into Silksong thinking, okay, the quest system will work like this, the tool system will work like this is how the bosses will work, and this is the end boss's favorite type of food, then you might get disappointed if things are different. Even if, like, quality-wise, they might be the same, they might be slightly worse, they might be slightly better, but they will be different. So yeah, if you're aware of these things, then I think your enjoyment of Silksong will be greater than if you were unaware of them. And that's the kind of like wake-up call that I wanted to make, especially since we've been theory crafting for the last 4 years. The Silksong in our heads, it sounds so funny when I say Silksong in our heads, it's like a hallucination of sorts. The Silksong in our heads has become such strongly shaped, especially for the thousands of us who have been consuming all these theories and coming up with them on our own. So please, just be aware of it. I'm going to cut myself short now because I've been rambling on. I haven't written a script for this. Can you tell I haven't written a script for this? No, I just wanted to try something different, okay? I can't wait for Silksong no matter what it will be and no matter how close or far away from the quote-unquote real Silksong I really was. Yeah, I'm trying to get more stuff out in 2023. Already done some shorts and 1 or 2 other videos, so yeah, thanks to my patrons, by the way. There's also going to be a new, like, Patreon exclusive playthrough of one-shots up in the coming weeks, so be excited for that. Maybe support me, I don't know, that would be nice. Please stay for the ride, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Panada.